everyone, and back for another episode of our MarketMooo Season 4, Episode 2. But before we start, you're going to have to ask you, how was your vacation?
Calm. Watched Olympics, did gardening, spent time with the kids. I played Fortnite.
And you're
because
proud
my
of that?
kids play that, and then I, showed them how it's done.
Oh, all right, there you go. And so you watched a lot of the Olympics? What did you watch?
Pretty much everything. So I started with the ski downhill, Lindsey Vonn, saw that crash. I watched everything pretty much.
Okay, yeah. And was there a favorite one that you saw, or?
No, a lot of sports where I think that's like a, we could live without these sports.
Do you want to share?
It's a free country. No. You could say something about our speed skating medals because we ended third, which is great.
Yeah. I saw that really painful thing, or it looked painful, where someone got hit and almost lost her sight.
That's still
Oh, that looks very painful.
Yeah, but I love the gold medal of Rijpma de Jong. Because it was her last chance at a gold medal ever, and she's always some sort of an underdog, not the most confident person ever, which is really like a human being, and that was great.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Well, good to have you back, and let's talk about dairy.
Yeah.
So, to start off with, we've been saying for a while, we've been seeing that there's a lot of milk within Europe, but then all of a sudden, prices moved up.
Yeah.
A lot, and the market became extremely volatile, prices shot up. What happened there?
Yeah, that's a good question, because even in the latest weeklies, European milk production, for example, is still really strong. And the same goes for the US. January report came out, more than 3% milk production growth, which is strong. Prices moved up. I think it started the end of January. Several things were happening because on one hand, you still have this massive wall of milk everywhere. New Zealand is still positive, Europe, US, all green numbers. Really
so are you saying
numbers.
on the fundamental side, nothing's really changed? It's not a fundamental...
Yes and no. There's a fundamental twist to that, but we'll come to that later. I think the first of all, for a lot of end users, the prices at the start of this calendar year, close to 2,000 euros, are really nice. Fits really well within your budget. So some people stepped in. That's, we saw interest in the GDT, stuff like that. So, might put a floor on things. Europe had no reason to become even cheaper because they were already the cheapest. So that also puts a floor on things. But then in the US, we saw an Arctic blast, really cold temperatures at the end of January. So there was a run on all these supermarkets and stuff like that. People stockpiled. They had to buy. On top of that, there was the infant formula issue, significant issue, which leads to extra buying because you have to replace the product, blah, blah, blah. That's also, I'm assuming, it's an assumption, that a lot of people were having short positions and then had to cover because, prices moved up since that Arctic blast, infant formula, etc.
Yeah, and it all kind of happened at the same time.
Yeah, because I promise you a fundamental twist as well. When you look at all the milk flowing in the US, milk production is really strong, but skim milk powder and non-fat dry milk production isn't strong. So the milk is flowing elsewhere and not too skimmed or non-fat. So that was actually quite scarce. And if you are having a short position that you need to cover on scarce production.
Something that's not around as much. Yeah,
gives you a price hike. And that has spilled over to, for example, European S&P as well, and some of the other dairy products. So that's one thing that happened. While milk production continues to move really strong.
Yeah, and are you expecting it to continue to be strong? Like, are prices still good enough for farmers, or?
For really efficient farmers, they're still above the break-even point. For a lot of farmers in Northwestern Europe, because that's, I talk to these farmers, it's slightly below break-even. They had a great year, so it's not a direct problem. But I think that they're hoping that the farm gate payout, the drop in farm gate payout has ended with these price increases.
Yeah. Do you think that will be the case?
No, I think that corporations still have an incentive to lower the price a little bit. because they lost a lot of money in the past 6-7 months, and they have to make up for that.
Yeah. And what are your expectations for this year's flush? I mean, we're slowly but surely getting there.
Yeah.
Do you expect it to be a good one, or?
Yeah, I think it should be a positive one still. That's still the case, because I do believe that a lot of these, I think a slaughter is up. It's up in the US and it's higher in Europe, because you would slaughter your older cows, for example. But do farmers really lower their herd? That's still not the case. So you probably start the flush with a decent amount of cows.
And then if you expect the flush to be good, do you expect, for example, skim milk powder availability to be bigger? Do you expect more to be around, or?
Yes, I looked at all the production figures in 2025, because the latest report was from December, and then you can make a balance sheet for the entire year. And I think that in the last 6 months of 2025, S&P production increased. I think it was almost 100,000 metric tons, while exports were also really, really strong. I think they were 90. So there was some
balanced out pretty much.
Yeah. It's the production still outpaced exports, but not by a lot. Mm-hmm. It balanced out pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
Extra milk means extra S&P production, butter production. Usually, I start with cheese production increasing 1 or 2%, and then the surplus goes to skimmed and butter, obviously. Yeah. So that's what I watch. And to have a judgment on that, I am watching the farm gate payout. Okay. Because I know that for farmers, when they are thinking, okay, we had a great year, we have some money left, we are slightly below break even, but if that's it, and it's like a temporary thing, then we're keeping the herd intact. Mm-hmm. While if the farm gate payout gets lower and lower, the incentive to slaughter increases.
Yeah. Sure.
And that can change things. So that's what I'm watching.
Yeah. And in the US, do you still expect most of the milk to flow towards cheese, or?
Yeah, cheese, UHT plants, stuff like that. Yeah. And there was a program announced last week.
Yeah, the USDA program.
Yeah, the USDA said...
Can you maybe explain to the viewers what the idea behind that program is?
Well, they said, okay, we're going to buy for $250 million US dollars agricultural products, and about half of that is dairy. Give or take.
Quite a chunk.
Quite a chunk. Yeah. And that's cheese, that's butter, that's fluid.
UHT products, yeah.
Yeah. So that was announced. There's still some question marks in my book on hey, how do you buy it? Is it like spread between the coming months until September? You would assume it should be within this budget year, etc. But still some question marks. And it's also saying, hey, because we already know that a lot of the milk in the US is, for example, flowing towards cheese production. Mm-hmm. So, when you buy some, then you're lowering the cheese stocks temporarily.
Yeah. And the goal of the program is to support farmers, to support the farm gate prices.
Yeah, you would support the processors mm-hmm. to a certain extent, but indirectly also the farmers. And you would theoretically say, hey, this is good for people, for example, on food stamps, because that's where you send the product towards. Mm-hmm. And that might, because there were inflation issues. Inflation in the US eased in January, I think. But you could theoretically address that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bit socialist for an American program. But
you're surprised.
Yeah.
No, great. Look, I think there's a lot happening in the market. I think to round off this episode, is there one specific thing you would advise our viewers to keep an eye on?
Yeah, it's still going to be farm gate milk prices.
Still the main.
Yeah, because that's
affects everything.
Yeah, but also because we're now really close to that break-even point, and it's the reasoning behind farmers is important. Will they keep the herd intact, or will it drop enough to say, hey, we'll slaughter some more, and then the milk production becomes negative? Yeah. Because as long as the really strong milk production figures are on the table, then you always have somewhat of a bearish argument on your table as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, fair point.
And if you take that off the table because of the farm gate, then
yeah, definitely. So
then the regime changes. Yeah.
Yep. All right, would you like to end this episode?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening or watching, because some people are watching us, which is great. And take care of yourself and each other.